Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Live. Coming up, Ghana set to sign Memorandum of Understanding with bilateral creditors as it finalizes agreement on debt restructuring.
I want to confirm our strong commitment to the program. The IMF team will be backing Ghana in April so we can jointly define what has been achieved and what more needs to be done.
We will discuss that. Meanwhile, Ghana outperforms all targets under the IMF program as Managing Director of the fund promises to support the country's economic recovery. Also in this bulletin, Chamber of Agri Business Ghana attributes the high cost of food prices in the country to the electronic transaction levy.
On agro inputs, weedicides, insecticides, pesticides, there are e-levy payment charges on each of these, and that is impacting on the cost of food or the food price buildup. And this is what we are saying, that government take out e-levy payments out of the sector.
Plus, tax partner accounting firm PwC urges government to consolidate taxes in the tourism sector to enhance compliance.
You charge me for coverage coming to Ghana. The question is, what is the point in actually outlining 4 different taxes that can easily be consolidated in one to encourage people to comply?
We have more from the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting held earlier today. These and many more for you this day. Thanks so much for your company. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Straight to our very first story. Ghana is set to sign a memorandum of understanding with bilateral creditors as part of the restructuring of debts owed these lenders. Now, this follows progress made with the creditors on the negotiated terms for repaying the loans. Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, was responding to a question posed by Agri Business during a roundtable engagement with journalists in Accra.
Our program came at the right time to support Ghana significantly. As you know, it is a $3 billion program. We have seen strong performance under the program, and the great news is that reforms are starting to bear fruits. And this is my last point. What is it that we assess as of now? The government has adjusted policies appropriately, launched a comprehensive debt restructuring, and initiated wide-ranging reforms. As a result, signs of economic stabilization are emerging. We projected growth of 1.5%. For 2023, Ghana outperformed this projection. Growth is 2.3%. We projected inflation to go down to around 27% from the high of nearly 54%, and it actually is down to 23%. In other words, again, performance is better than we expected. Both the fiscal and the external positions have improved, and exchange rate volatility has eased. There is still work to be done. We need to continue on that path to rebuilding confidence, fully restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, and promoting an economy that is more inclusive, strong, vibrant, for the benefit of people here. I want to confirm our strong commitment to the program. The IMF team will be backing Ghana in April so we can jointly define what has been achieved and what more needs to be done for the success of Ghana. Not, of course, the success of the IMF program, but for the success of Ghana.
Meanwhile, she has indicated that the country has so far been able to meet all the major targets under the IMF program. This is helping to fast-track the process with respect to Ghana's economic recovery. Let's bring in the thoughts of economist Dr. Patrick Isuming. Thanks so much, sir, for joining us here on Business Live. I want to know how crucial or important you would say is it when you hear the IMF board, for example, say that it is tangible progress made towards signing an MoU with bilateral creditors.
Good evening and good evening to viewers. I think it is positive news. It is somewhat expected. I think back in early January when they agreed a broader framework, there was an expectation that progress would be made. So it is positive news. It is somewhat expected. I think it's the other negotiation with the Eurobond holders, the private lenders. I think that is where the sticking point will be. But it generally is good news to hear that progress has been made. We are almost through that process.
One other key thing during his visit, I should say, is basically warning that Ghana's 3 bailout packages may be in jeopardy if the country fails to secure a fair restructuring deal with Eurobond holders, just as similar to what happened to Zambia, for example. Would you say that is very instructive?
I think it's an important point. And it's a very important point. What constitutes a fair deal is open to debate, but a lot of sacrifices have been made, especially by Ghanaians through the domestic restructuring. So it will be very unfortunate if we rush to get a deal that doesn't give us enough fiscal space, doesn't significantly reduce our debt situation. I think that is the context in which she was speaking. Like you said, we've made substantial progress. It looks like we're going to make a lot of savings from the discussion with the bilateral partners. We know how much savings. We've made a lot of savings with the domestic debt exchange. So I think that's the final leg. It turns out that's also the tricky one. I think the others are relatively more straightforward. That one involving the commercial partners with different interests and then different positions who are not necessarily development partners and may not necessarily have an interest in ensuring that we get a deal. Don't forget they are private lenders. They are looking for as much money as they can get. So I think we have to take our time and be very tactful and make sure that we get the best possible deal we can get.
You've heard the narrative from the IMF and, of course, government as well. All things being equal, when do you think Ghana will close a deal with its lenders?
It's difficult to predict. And the only thing that we hope is that we would have learned from the ones that went before us, especially the Zambian case, and make sure that ours is a little more straightforward than that. I think, there's a little bit more sympathy, and also because we've done a domestic debt exchange that has ensured that domestic lenders have taken substantial chunk of a haircut, that puts us in a stronger position. But, I don't think anybody can really put a timeline on it, and we should refrain from that. We've done that with the domestic debt exchange. We didn't meet it. We've done that with the bilateral partners. We didn't meet it. We don't have to start putting timeline on it and put pressure on that. These are complex and painful negotiations. We just have to go through it and make sure that we make all the data available, be as honest as we can be, and expect the same from our partners.
Very well. Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick Isuming, for your thoughts this evening on this subject matter. But let's switch topics to some other stories you are following up for you. The Chamber of Agri Business Ghana has blamed the high cost of food prices on the electronic transaction levy. According to its executive officer, Anthony Morrison, the implementation of the e-levy has increased the cost of aggregation along the agricultural value chain, thereby compelling stakeholders at the stage to increase food prices when the products get to the urban centers. More in this report.
GIZ, in partnership with the European Union and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, organized the Entrepreneurial Knowledge Forum to create a platform for small and medium enterprises to network with policymakers under the African Continental Free Trade Area and highlight the importance of digitalization. Speaking on the sidelines of the forum, CEO of the Chamber of Agri Business Ghana, Anthony Morrison, called on government to exclude the rural economy from paying the electronic transaction levy.
Assuming I'm an aggregator and I go to the villages, to bring goods. I go with money, okay? Now, because of armed robbery, attacks and all that, nobody goes with hard-earned money. You load the money on your MoU account. So wherever you go, you pay. So that means that any person I buy 5 kg, 10 bags of maize or rice, I pay and I'm charged e-levy. When I get everywhere, I pay. When I finally decide to load, those who are loading for me, I pay them on MoMo. They charge me e-levy. So when I bring everything back to Accra or Kumasi or wherever the market is, I put all these charges back onto the food and then give it to the consumer to pay back. Because at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for it. It's not a free area. So these are the impact. And besides, look, when you are buying from the agro inputs dealer, you pay taxes. You pay the e-levy on fertilizer, on agro inputs, weedicides, insecticides, pesticides. There are e-levy payment charges on each of these. And that is impacting on the cost of food or the food price buildup. And this is what we are saying, that government take out e-levy payment out of the sector. Let the rural economy feel free and move money about digitally.
Economist Professor Godfred Bokping presented his research findings on AFTA, digital trade and e-commerce. According to him, Ghana is losing out of the pact and called for more sensitization programs.
Ghana is losing out in terms of the digital trade, digital commerce and the rest of them compared to other countries. Our businesses are doing their best, but they need a lot of external support from government, from other regulatory institutions, and including the associations. We can't afford to lose out of this. And then again, the other thing you also see is that under the guided trade initiative, almost all the other countries that are participating, everybody is focusing on Ghana, of how they can move their goods quickly to Ghana, and the rest of them, which should equally be interested in how we can enable the private sector, because after it's about moving goods and services across the borders, and once we are not doing that, we are not optimizing our participation from the AFCFTA. The other bit that we also need to do is that apart from the urban and peri-urban areas who are fairly aware of the AFCFTA and the protocols, when you go further out of Accra and Kumasi and the rest of them, the knowledge level is very low. And you can't take advantage of what you are not aware of and the rest of them. So there's the need for regional level workshops, tailor-made, and probably in a language that also they can connect with. Because those who run and own businesses may not understand all the technicalities of trade and protocol and rules of origin and the rest of them, but they are the ones moving the economy.
More within the agri sector, the government is throwing an initiative or invitation to small industries and food processors to take advantage of the abundance of raw materials that are going to be available as a result of the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 initiative. According to the Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, Frimpong Ado, raw materials are going to be made available across the country for industrial production. He believes food processors must take advantage of the season to add value to the farm produce before exporting. The Deputy Minister spoke to Joy Business after addressing the Agritech West Africa Conference and Exhibition in Accra.
The Agritech West Africa Conference this year is heavy on agric machinery and agro-processing, identified as a key component in the food value chain. The call by the Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Frimpong Ado, follows a series of concerns that Ghana is not able to add value to food products before exporting into other countries. He therefore challenged businesses and industries in the sector to pay attention to the government's new Planting for Food and Jobs initiative and begin processing some raw materials from the various farmlands.
We are creating the opportunities for everybody to produce. And once the raw materials are there in our warehouses that we are going to spread all around the country. And you are a private sector person, and you know that when you process soya into some other value-added products, you are going to earn more on it. A private sector person, you don't need somebody to tell you the timeline. For me, the most important thing is the raw materials being available. And that one is our responsibility. We need to make the raw materials available through increased production. And this is exactly what we are doing. We started with the PFJ1, but now we are promoting more of commercial agriculture, just to target industry.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, India High Commissioner to Ghana, Manish Gupta, emphasized Ghana's strategic position on the African continent and the need for more industries to consider the country for flagship projects in Africa.
So two big initiatives, if you've seen the outcome document, they are the Global Biofuel Alliance, and second, the Deccan Principles of Food and Security Nutrition. What essentially this entails is putting a collective global framework to address the challenges here. And within the Indian context, I am very happy that there is a great interest from the companies in India to invest in West Africa and especially in Ghana. What I see is our companies look Ghana as a gateway for entry. Part of this is because Ghana's vantage position, its rule of law, and the good safety and security of the investments. That's always a big driver for any investments in a country. I came here very recently, 6 weeks ago, but what I have seen, this is my 6th business delegation that this time we are hosting here in Ghana. So that speaks volumes about the degree of interest that we have, the Indian companies have. And these are ably supplemented by the government-to-government interaction also.
Various agreements are expected to be signed between some Ghanaian businesses and Indian counterparts during the next 3 days of networking.
You're still watching Business Live with me, Pius Kojo Baka. We've got more stories for you after this break. Hello, welcome back to Business Live. Tax partner at accounting firm PwC, Abeku Jankwansa, has expressed concern about the current tax structure of Ghana's tourism industry. According to him, the government should consolidate the various tourism taxes into a simpler, more manageable system while enhancing tax compliance. He spoke to Joy Business at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting at the Labadi Beach Hotel here in Accra.
For you to encourage compliance, what you want people to comply with should be as certain as possible. It should be convenient to pay. It should not impose on them unnecessary burdens. All right? So, as I did share on this platform, currently when you deal with me as a tourist providing entity and you are charging me, if you are registered for VAT, you would be charging me VAT, you would charge me a health levy, you would charge me an education levy, and you would charge me for COVID coming to Ghana. The question is, what is the point in actually outlining 4 different taxes that can easily be consolidated in one to encourage people to comply? And specifically with respect to the tourism sector, you also add the tourism levy, which actually makes it 5. So can we really have a conversation on consolidating all these taxes and levies so that people can easily comply with taxes in Ghana?
In more news, the Ghana Institution of Engineering is calling for more collaboration from some government agencies rather than frustrating the operations. President of the institution, Engineer Kwabena Bimpon, said there is the need to build a resilient infrastructure to withstand any shocks. He was speaking at the 54th Annual General Meeting and Conference of the institution.
The 2024 annual conference serves as a platform for engineering practitioners and thought leaders to come together, share knowledge, collaborate, network, and contribute to the advancement of the nation's sustainable development. Engineer Kwabena Bimpon urged engineers to design and construct physical systems that can withstand and recover from various shocks and stresses, including natural disasters, climate change, and human-made disruptions.
And I dare say, many third world countries, we are very vulnerable to external shocks, such as the current, and I know whenever we hear of excuses to give for the current challenges, it was about the geopolitical wars, it was about the pandemic, climate change. Today, you know it. Yeah. And you see, for a lot of people, we never knew that we were fed, or our internet was fed by undersea cables. But today, even though it is a misfortune, we now know that we are fed by undersea cables. And I don't know whether the journalists are here. You know, the journalists, they seem to know everything. So immediately they are talking about ACE, and why is it that and these telcos don't have multiple connections and all that. But yes, truly, the internet disruptions as a result of the undersea cable cuts, and they say multiple cable cuts. These are all shocks. With their attendant impact on our economic fortunes, it is thus important that as engineering practitioners, we play our part by designing and providing resilient infrastructure for our development.
Member of the Council of State, Sam Okujeto-Ablakwa, urged engineers to be more practical in their operations.
Dubai is a desert place. There's no river that flows there. So they had to distill the seawater. But the streets are planted with flowers and plants being watered several times during the day. Qatar is even building a new city. I mean, when you see the design of it, you'll be shocked. So what are we doing? What are we doing, my engineers? What are we doing? So I think we have work to do. It's work in progress. So, Mr. President, I will plead with you that all of you should continue to organize seminars. And in these seminars, don't restrict it to only engineers. Try and get the other professions as we were doing before.
This year's conference was under the theme Engineering a Resilient Future, Innovative Solutions for a Sustainable Ghana.
Now, the Women in Engineering group under the Ghana Institution of Engineering is making a strong case for a public policy initiative to support women within the space. According to Engineer Dr. Enyonam Pekpemana, these policies should be favorable to enhance the skills of women within the industry to contribute to national development. Here is more.
The engineering field has seen some outstanding female personalities whose contributions have been nothing short of excellence due to the enormity of the impact of their innovations on society, especially the rural poor and vulnerable, and on the environment. Engineer Pekpemana called for more support for the field.
Student engineers who are members of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, we are 25 years, we've accomplished a lot within those 25 years. We have risen from a percentage of 1% to current 11% of membership in the Ghana Institution of Engineering. We continue to advocate for more females to study engineering so that we could close the gap, and also retaining females in the engineering space. We've realized that most of the females who practice engineering, when they come because of the challenges with the working environment, they move out from engineering and they go into other fields. And because of their engineering background, they do so well. We still consider them as part of engineers, but we realize that they have moved out of engineering practice. We have accomplished so far. We we can boast of a number of sponsorship. We have given out to I can count 2 female engineering students who have benefited from our scholarship and award scheme. We also present awards to the best female engineering students in the universities as well.
Some of the women engineers were awarded for their outstanding feats achieved within the field over the years. Keynote speaker at the event, Bridget Jogbenuku, commended the women and entreated them to explore for more opportunities.
Mentoring enables established women leaders to inspire and encourage others tackle the challenge in their professional and personal growth. While women need professional support and advancement, they also desire personal and emotional support from other women as well. Mentoring helps a mentee's motivation and capacity for meeting challenges, exploring new ideas, and making important decisions.
This year's event was under the theme Mentorship, the Catalyst to Engineering, a Resilient and Sustainable Future.
And that's all in this package by way of Business Life with me, Pius Kojo Baka. For more stories, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for all the business news you need to know in Ghana and beyond. See you same time tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.